Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. In this modern world, our sensitive data is stored in an increasing number of places. We've got smartwatches that track our vitals and sleep quality, and apps that track menstrual cycles and ovulation, and our phone track our steps and analyze our activity. And companies like 23andMe convinced so many to trade access to their DNA to unlock personal history and detailed genealogy reports. Ms. Hu, what kinds of entities are left out of our existing federal framework for protecting health data? And how could we strengthen federal privacy laws so that it's not left to the states to do that privacy protection work that you mentioned earlier?
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. And I think that this is another chance to revisit the prior Congressman's question about why it matters. I think that, these types of very sensitive data can be open to exploitation, both in national security, but on also consumer, exploitation purposes as well. And in the absence of these comprehensive federal laws, we do see the need to have the states try to enact these laws that are operating to fill the gap that's left by HIPAA. So I think in the future, we do need to look to Congress to try to create comprehensive laws that protect against the type of data sharing, third-party use, misuses, and abuses in our wearables, in our health apps, in the way in which health data is captured through telehealth systems that might not come under the protection of federal law. And I hope that we're able to move forward with that.
Thank you. And, we just level setting for folks tuning in. In 2022, the Biden administration issued important guidance to ensure that private health information that would be covered by HIPAA and other circumstances could not be disclosed to entities seeking to investigate someone for accessing reproductive health care, for example. But that guidance has been withdrawn under the Trump administration in an effort to push forward an anti-reproductive health agenda, putting both doctors and patients at risk and discouraging folks from seeking care. I think we have to remember that these issues are intertwined. What companies, who's able to access the private health data that companies now have access to under our increasingly online and digitized lifestyle. Ms. Hu, should Americans be concerned? Well, what's the implication of individuals having their healthcare data being accessed? Should they be concerned that they might be investigated or potentially prosecuted in this political environment?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. I think that part of the concern is the way in which law enforcement or others can access this for investigatory purposes, basically doing a workaround around the Fourth Amendment protections. If it can be purchased, if it can be repackaged, sold, borrowed, I think that this is the kind of data that can then end up in a way that is used against an individual without the types of constitutional protections and criminal procedure rights that they have become accustomed to.
Thank you. We've made some progress on this in Washington State when I was there in the legislature, and I know that many other states are trying to enact these sort of shield laws to better protect the individual data of consumers, particularly their individual health and genetic data. Are there specific steps that you would recommend Congress taking to ensure that our health information, including medical records, remains secure?
Yeah, I think that this is where we need to look at this comprehensively, not just in a siloed way, not just health data, for example, or education data or financial data, and not just a federal or a state level issue. I think that this truly needs to be across the board. So you'd mentioned state of Washington having biometric protections, for example, as well. Not all states have that type of biometric data protections or genetic data protections. And right now, in federal law, we only have it under, for example, GINA for in the employment context. But it really does need to have that very full, comprehensive approach.
Thank you so much. I yield back, Mr. Chair.